Comes to dance, what ties to like Africa do you really see?
Well, I teach a course. I teach a course here. Well, it's going to be a course, but currently it's a workshop called The Roots of Modern Dance, which are focused on the African and indigenous roots of postmodern dance. So a lot of the postmodern dance techniques that influence modern companies that are really popular, like Alvin Ailey and Philadenko, and a lot of the American modern dance companies are steeped in postmodern techniques that use a lot of studies and fascination with African and indigenous cultures to make their vocabulary and set up their codified technique. So, for example, I teach a technique called Horton. It's an anatomical technique that was based in his studies of Egyptology and indigenous studies. And then Martha Graham, as well took from African and indigenous people. So that is always something I'm interested in theoretically. But I mean, just on a fast-paced way, my undergrad degree is in anthropology. So my first time in Brazil was to stay for a month, and I lived with and assisted a priestess of Candomblé. And Candomblé is the African syncretic religion that came from West Africa and then was mixed with Catholicism. And in some places it's voodoo or Santeria or this or that. And I was able to learn dances with her for each Orisha and then learn how to prepare the ceremonial meals. So that was just for my undergraduate thesis. Okay. Then as, I began to, work more around the city, I think what's really important to continue to reiterate is that our perception of dance and even ballet would be very, very, very different without Black people and African influence. So aside from the obvious, tap and hip hop and Lindy hop, which then turned to swing that white people love to do with their bobby socks. Okay, all of that comes out of the cultures that we created based on jazz, based on African rhythms, based on classical, mixed with African rhythms. Because, we're the most creative people in the world. You give us something and we'll just flip it upside down and make it better. And that's what we did with Catholicism and Christianity and classical music and the waltz. We flipped it all around, made it better. And that's my perception in terms of, in general, the influence of Africans on dance, whether it's popular dance, social dance, or train dance. Because you can go, yeah.
Are there any like routines when it comes to like before somebody eats, like in African culture?
You mean like a ritual dance? That's a good question. I don't know. I would think it depends. The only place I've been on the continent is Egypt. I lived there for 4 months when I was 17, and then I went back at 30. But in terms of the rituals around
like a
eating,
luau, isn't that like?
Oh no, that's I don't know. What I know is that in Yoruba-based ceremonies around the diaspora, the ritual aspect of it, if anything is sacrifice, then you prepare the meat and you share it and you eat it. Nothing is wasted. So spirit and ritual and anything for a spiritual purpose is then going to nourish your actual physical body. So that's what I would say related to the spirit of if there's dance around it. Yes, people have been dancing in ritual for hours with that food, and then it went through transition for that offering, and then you prepare it in a certain way, and then you all eat it together. That is part of it. These things go on, you eat until the morning. It's like 6 a.m. That witnessing that in Brazil definitely affected, my awareness of spirit, dance, and food. Yeah. After dinner, it's in Italy. There's a little space. This is what they do. They have a store. They sell some Ethiopian things. And then the waitresses come out in their beautiful white dresses and they dance. Have you ever seen Ethiopian dance?
I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to only do a little bit for you because this is really intense. But basically, it's a lot of rhythm all up in here. And they did that. And I'm in my chair like, oh. And they were like, and I got up and I started dancing with them, and they were like, lost their mind, and I was like, oh my God. And that was it. They were like, sister. So I made friends with this group of women in the restaurant, and then I would go to the cultural center, would meet the Eritreans and the Ethiopians there, and that was, those kind of experiences I had all over the world were the clearest experience, proof of we all African and we're all connected. You didn't have a category to put me in. All I had to do was dance, and we're sisters.
Mm-hmm.